Hello, my name is Winfried Holler. I am the owner and founder of Keimling Naturkost in Germany. This is the biggest raw food company in Germany. And this is the catalog, so to recognize it. And I am so happy to have here Dr. Brian Clement from the Hippocrates Health Institute from Palm West Beach. Hippocrates Health is a world-famous institute which exists since many years, and more than 300,000 people have passed your program. So my first question is, the institute is worldwide famed as an alternative healing institute in the world. Please tell me something about the history of the institute.
Well, beginning in 1950s, our founder, Ann Wigmore, was told that she was going to die of stage 4 cancer. She went to the top doctors in the United States, in Boston, at Harvard, and they gave her 90 days to live. She went home and she employed the methods she learned here in Europe from her grandma. She was a Lithuanian, and her grandmom was a village doctor. And she used grasses, and she used weeds and raw food, and she recovered from this very advanced form of cancer. 1956, she opened the doors of Hippocrates. And we've been now helping people for nearly 60 years, from your country of Deutschland, from all over Europe, from all over the world. As we sit here now, the Institute's filled with people from 24 countries.
So this is a very great story, a very great thing that you can help so many people. What kind of people are coming now to the Institute with which kind of health problems?
Well, there's so many health problems today. You know, it's not just cancer and heart disease and diabetes, multiple sclerosis and Parkinson's disease and ALS and Alzheimer's disease, and the list goes on, chronic fatigue syndrome, etc. But the good news is we see more and more people coming to us who are healthy, just like you. So healthy people come to prevent premature aging and also disease.
This is a very good story that people come before they are seriously ill.
Yes.
So same thing I did last year when I attended your 3-week program at your institute in West Palm Beach. What can people expect to get when they pass the 3-week program, and what can't they expect?
Well, we're the future of healthcare and the future of medicine, because we are telling the truth to people that you have got to be responsible for your life. You have got to be responsible for your health. That's why the work you do here is so important. When people think that they can live any way they want and eat anything, be lazy, not exercise, smoke cigarettes, and then they're surprised when they get sick, it's crazy. A doctor cannot make you well. You've got to make you well. So we educate, we support, and we love you. And for the rest of your life, as you know, we counsel you. So once you graduate, then you send blood tests back here from Europe or from Asia, from South America, from the United States, and our medical team looks at it, and we hold your hand. So what you cannot expect is magic. The pharmaceutical companies think of magic. They give you a pill, you're supposed to get better. Nobody's that stupid, I don't think. You know, we're waking up worldwide now, and people are finally realizing that it's time to get back to the basics, to real simple things again.
Okay. I think it's very important to maintain a healthy lifestyle after the program. The program is only the start.
Exactly. It's sort of like the educational process, the university.
Okay, it's very comparable. Brian, nowadays many people adhere to a low-carb, high-protein diet. Others swear to high-carb, low-fat. So what is your opinion? What is the Hippocrates diet?
Well, the Hippocrates Diet, which is the oldest diet in the world, most clinically researched program in history, in the entire history of science, on humans for 60 years, It is a program with raw food, a program that is mostly carbohydrates, but not pastas, breads, and potatoes. What we give are sprouts and vegetables, a little bit of fruit, grains that are sprouted, nuts and beans. These are the foods that let us all flourish. I don't know why there's any debate at this point in the 21st century. Everyone knows what they should be eating. There's 1,800,000 species on the planet Earth except humans. Every one of these species eat a 100% raw food diet. We, for 60 years, have had the sickest and smartest people in the world come to it. When we put them on a raw food diet, they get better from diseases. We don't age. I'm in my middle 60s. I feel like I'm 20 years old. And so this should not be a debate. We have the science. Everyone wants to sell books. Everyone wants to lie to make money. Telling people to do what they already do is a great way to make money. I'm going to tell people what they don't want to do. Eat healthy raw food, ecological food, food that has life in it, the highest vitamins, the highest protein, the highest minerals, the highest essential fats. This is not a theory. We're talking about science and history.
Okay, Brian, but in between the raw food, there are some who say eat much protein, others say eat much carbohydrates. So what's your position, or what's...
Well, I don't think you have to debate that either. If you look at the World Health Organization and the work we've done, if you eat a highly digestible protein diet, you only need a small amount. So if you take a nut and chew it and swallow it, even very strong people like you or I have a difficult time digesting it. But if we sprout it, we soak it and sprout it, it becomes quite easy to digest. So you need small amounts of protein that's almost 100% usable, high amounts of vegetables, sprouted grains and sprouted beans, the carbohydrate about 90%, and about 5% essential fatty acids. That, by the way, you get in the same place you get the proteins. So nuts and seeds and grains and beans, when you sprout them, have incredible essential fatty acids in it.
Okay, thank you. I know, because I attended your program, that you recommend wheatgrass juice.
Yes.
And that you recommend to make a green juice.
Absolutely.
So what should be in this green juice?
Well, again, if you look at green vegetables, they're terrific, but compared to a sprout, they're very, very small in nutrition. So if you take a sunflower green sprout or a pea green sprout, it is actually 30 times more nutritious than greenkohl, than kale, out of your great gardens here in Europe. So you'd want to put half of it minimally, half of it as sprouts. Now you have a juice this big, as an example, that has the protein the average Northern European gets in 3 days, in 1 cup like this. So can you imagine the protein you get, but it's pre-digested protein. So when I'm training Olympic athletes or bodybuilders or helping people get well from cancer, this is going to nourish. The other thing is wheatgrass, just this much wheatgrass, has the protein and the vitamins and the minerals and the essential fats that 2 kilos of green vegetables have. So that's why wheatgrass is a superior food. In the books I write for the academics and the doctors, I explain the science on this. How literally it fights cancers, viruses, bacteria, molds, yeast, and fungus.
Okay, and I remember that I was not hungry at all.
Yeah.
I had to diminish the portions nearly every day because I was satisfied. I couldn't eat so much.
And you see, that's the problem even on a vegetarian and a vegan diet. If you're eating a lot of cooked food that has very little nutrition, you keep eating more. Whereas you're pointing out a really nourishing diet, the one that humans are meant to eat, a raw diet, a Naturkost, raw food diet, literally nourishes us with all those vitamins and minerals and proteins that our body's blood sugar requires.
Yes, my plate went every day smaller, and people said, "Oh, you are satisfied with such a small portion."
Yes.
Another question about wheat. So you recommend wheatgrass.
Yes.
So wheatgrass is a very high-prided grain. So what about spelt or older varieties of grains?
Oh, they're perfectly fine. As a matter of fact, grasses are grasses. They all come from the same family. And so when you germinate wheat, you no longer have celiac or gluten allergies because the gluten, which is the protein in there, is broken through the germination, the sprouting process, down to an amino acid. So people who have these problems will not have it. But you can use rye, you can use oats, you can use barley. All of these are fine. The wheat has a lot of elements in it, though. 96 elements out of the 115 elements on the periodic table. And so that's why we've chosen wheat. But spelt is great, kamut is great, other primitive forms of wheat that actually have higher protein levels.
Okay, fine. So to manage all this, to choose the wheat, to choose the greens, the sprouts and so on, what kind of juicer do you recommend?
Well, that's really easy. You know, we've looked at juicers for 60 years. And thank goodness recently the Excalibur Juicer has become available. Yeah, I think you have a picture of it. This is it. The Excalibur Juicer is just an amazing one. This is easy to clean. You know, one of the problems for people is they say, well, this is all so much. What is too much is the way the Germans and the Swedes and the Americans live. It's too much insanity. This is easy. If you can spend the same time you used to drink coffee making juice, it doesn't take as much time. And this is very easy to clean and extracts well. Now, why I love these juicers, they act like the teeth. And our teeth are hundreds and hundreds of pounds of pressure squeezing. This mimics a teeth. Very slow turning, squeezing and pulling out and extracting from the deep cell of the green the nutrition. That's what you need. These type of juicers kill mostly everything. Mixers, blenders, kill 90% in 90 minutes. This is science. This isn't theory or my ideas. And so this is why this one that acts like the mouth and chews slowly, slowly, and crushes is the best one to have.
I like this juicer too because cleaning is so very easy and it's very simple and you don't use much time to choose with this juicer.
Yeah, here in Europe and in North America, around the world, people are becoming lazier, so they don't like to take any time in the kitchen. We're so used to eating out. In my country, 80% of people eat out at restaurants now.
That's a lot.
It's too much. Too much, yes.
So, what kind of sprouts do you recommend most?
Well, the ones I've mentioned are at the top of the list. Wheatgrass, sunflower, pea greens. But there's such a wide array. In my book, Life Force, which is translated in many languages, in German and French and in Chinese, I actually give a whole chapter on the different pharmacy of sprouts. For instance, onion sprouts kill cancer and help ulcers. For instance, mung bean sprouts help you not to have white hair and get bald. They help your prostate and they help your breast. If you look at fenugreek sprouts, fenugreek is incredible for your body odor, for gastrointestinal problems like Crohn's disease, diverticulosis, and diabetes. It actually helps to regulate blood sugar. And so in my book, Life Force, you can read about this. And it's the most important medicine I've used in the 43 years I've done work in this field. All other medicines, be it herbal or homeopathic or modern medicine, help, but this is much stronger. This is nature's medicine, as we call it. And these juicers are perfect to juice them in. And chewing is also good too.
I see though. And what amazing is that sprouts are affordable.
Everyone can have that.
Everybody, even poor people, can eat sprouts, can grow sprouts, and so nobody can tell that health is a thing that is only for the rich one.
Exactly. You see, it's considered an elitist thing. One of the things that made me gravitate towards Hippocrates in 1975, when I joined the staff, was that this was equalitarian. That I've actually been in projects in India and in the Middle East where people were starving and we were feeding them with sprouts. 1 kilo of sprouts make 10 kilos of food. Now, can you imagine? and the highest protein, highest vitamins, highest minerals, highest essential fat. Not only is it making 10 times more, but the highest nutrition. So people who are hungry, within days, they start to recover.
That's very amazing, very good news from you. I want to shift to another point of your diet. This is about sugar.
Oh, yeah.
You are avoiding very, very strongly sugar in the Hippocrates Diet, and even tomatoes are forbidden when I passed the 3-week program.
Thank God you weren't Italian. Yes. Well, let's explain that to you. Now, about 35 years ago, we discovered by chance that fruit sugar was feeding cancer. We went on another year to study. We found out it was feeding viruses and bacteria and mold and yeast. But we were the lone voice in this. It was very difficult. I was telling people to give up meat, give up dairy, give up cooked food. Now you have to give up fruit. So people would look at me and say, whoa, that's crazy. What are you going to eat? And it was difficult. In the last decade, worldwide, here the German Cancer Institute is an example, Stanford University in my country, University of California, all completely agree with us. And in the last 5 years, they even taught us things. They told us that cancer cells have 70 more receptor sites for fruit sugar than they do white sugar. Isn't that amazing? So they, like you like fruit better than you do white sugar. Well, the cancer does too. We see it's related to osteoporosis, breakdown of the bones, heart disease. There was a major study done on nurses in my country where they looked at tens of thousands of nurses over a very long period. And they found out that women who were eating high amounts of fruit had 2 times more heart attacks, double the heart attacks, 100% more heart attacks. So now we have not only our understanding and our 35 years of research, but major institutes, research institutes from around the globe completely agree. So sugar is something you should avoid when you have a disease, even if it's ecological fruit. If you are healthy, only very small amounts of ecological fruit should be consumed. No more than 15%, 15% of your diet. And they always have to be ripe, as you know, because unripened fruit is highly acid and robs nutrition from your bones and from your teeth. You just don't want it.
Okay. So apples, mangoes, pineapples and all these things are to restrict to 15% of the calorie intake, I think.
That's exactly right. And if you're sick, you don't touch them. Now, once you get better, you can have a little bit. But again, I don't think it's smart to take a pineapple or a mango in Northern Europe. If you're in Florida, if you're in Africa, yes. Here you have great apples, you have pears, you have plums, you have peaches. You know, it's really appropriate to eat the foods from this area. The high sugar fruits are difficult for a person in a cold climate to utilize.
Okay. You have big success in your Hippocrates Institute. You have many healing successes. I heard that you make very good documentations about it.
Yes.
Do you have statistics about it, and where can I read it?
Well, here's what you have to understand about the global politics that surround the pharmaceutical industry. That what we position ourselves as at Hippocrates is an educational institute, and we keep data. Now, very intelligent and honest researchers come to us quite often. So as an example, 3 years ago, the University of California came to us and said, we want to prove that cancer is not a genetic disease. So the University of California takes our data, our statistics, and they'll publish it. Right now, we're beginning a study with Dr. Esselstyn and Dr. Campbell. We're going to take 20 to 30 people who have reversed stage 4 cancer. A major institute, not Hippocrates, is going to do the data and publish it. We don't want to compete. We don't really believe we heal people. You know this. I think it's the old way of thinking. It's really an economic way of thinking. You give me money, I heal you. No. I give you education, I give you support, you heal you. So we don't pretend to be an institute or a hospital of healing. We've just had thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people heal disease. And you know this. You were there. You met these people.
That's right. That's right. You travel a lot, Brian.
Yes.
And we have the luck to have you here in Germany this year. What is the reason for your travels? What is your aim?
It's passion. You know, I think we are at a very difficult time in the human species now, the human race, that in the next few years we're either going to retrieve our lives and survive, or we're going to perish. Just the consumption of meat and dairy alone causes 50% of the greenhouse gases. We have 7 billion people on the earth. We cannot keep eating meat and dairy food. It's impossible. And we've seen it. We see people come back to life. We see what is necessary. And I can promise you, the work that you're doing here in Germany, all of us together will change the course of humanity. I am passionate about this. You know, I have 4 children. I have 4 grandchildren. I want them to have a future. You and I were fortunate. We're men that, you know, maybe we live another 30 years, 40 years. That's great. But the fact is, how about the young ones? And we've so destroyed the planet because we're greedy. Your country, my country, are the leaders in the greed, matter of fact. Germany and the United States led. Now we teach others. We teach the Chinese and we teach the Russians. Now everyone wants money. And we cannot continue like this. It's not sustainable. It's just not sustainable.
That's right. It's my compassion too, to help people to live healthier. That's why I have a Raw Food Academy, where people are instructed to do raw food in daily life.
Yes.
That's what I want to continue much more than before, to help this process to convert the company, not the company, the people.
Yeah, but you know,
And the society, yes.
But you know, most people in our world today are not happy with their work. We're very blessed. We chose something that we're passionate about. You know, and when people are not happy in their work, in their marriage, in their life, they eat the wrong food, they drink, they smoke. You know, it's just a horrible thing. So if we could make everyone happy, wouldn't that be nice?
Very nice. And same what you say, I am very happy that I have such a good work, a work which helps other people and on which I can have a good living too.
Absolutely.
Brian, if somebody comes to you and asks you, what should I do first? Please give me an advice. What should I avoid as the most decisive, the most important things? What should I stop now?
Let's make 2 kinds of people. There's people like you that are healthy, and then people who are dying of a disease.
Yes.
So if people are dying of a disease, we don't moderate or compromise. It's not a negotiation. They must give everything up immediately. They must give up meat. They must give up dairy. They should give up cooked food. They have to eat green food. They have to stop the sugars. To survive a disease today that in medicine they consider 0 success, 100% die, you have to do something very important and extreme. You have to live in the way you were meant to live. You, on the other hand, and I know you live well like me, but let's imagine you're the average North American or Northern European. I may say, he's not ready to make these changes. So at least we start giving up the meats first. Now we may wait 3 months, and we say, now we give up the dairy food. Then we wait another 3 or 4 months, and we reduce the cooked food. So in a year, we have you on a vegan diet, but you're 50% raw. Within 2 years, we have you on an 80% raw diet with no meat and no dairy food. And 20% can be cooked. And we think that's a healthy diet for most people. I eat some cooked food, you know, and it's very minimal amount, but it's not religion. This is not religion. When you are looking at the chemistry of this, when you're fighting a big disease, you must be 100% raw because your immune system requires that fuel. Once you're well, eating 10–20% cooked food, we're not talking bad food, we're talking ecological food. But vegetable-based foods. And always minimize the sugars, remember. Sugar even ages us. Forget feeding disease. If you look at the big proponents of fruit, look at how old they look. All of the major proponents of high fruit diets age much quicker than the rest. Look at gorillas. Gorillas are the strongest creature on earth. They eat a green diet. They don't eat fruits. Look at monkeys running around like this. They eat high fruit diets. And they age much quicker, as humans do.
Okay. I think if I'm not really ill, it's a smooth way that you propose.
Absolutely, yeah. You know, I know it took me years to do this. And I would be good and then I'd be bad, you know. Giving up meat, I did in one day. I loved meat. Giving up dairy took 3 years. Dairy was more difficult than meat, and I liked meat. But it was much more difficult because I had no moral reason to give up the dairy food. You know, with the other, I had a moral. But giving up the sugar probably took 25–30 years. That was the hardest because I'd be good and then I'd be bad, and then I'd be good and then I'd be bad. And once you give it up, you feel remarkable good. Many people like us, I said, did you give up fruit? Oh my God, I feel so much better. But when you're doing it, it's difficult. It's like an alcohol almost. It's the most addiction we have, sugar.
But I think, Brian, nowadays it's easier to do it.
Oh, yes.
Because we have so many recipes, we have so much experience. For example, to replace dairy stuff like cheese, you can do it with cashew, you can do it with almond butters and all these things. So it's much easier.
You're right. When people say it's hard today, they're really lying. It used to be hard, but no more. It's very easy.
Brian, we have here in Germany the book Wunderlebensmittel.
Yes.
And I heard that you have published a new one. What is the name and will it be published in German too?
Well, we hope so. This is Dairy Deceit, and this is exposing all of the diseases that drinking milk, eating cheese, eating yogurt, eating butter, and eggs. So it's on both milk and eggs, and all of the things we make from milk and eggs. And it is just sad for me that when I'm writing a book like this, I spend 1 year reading research, thousands and thousands and thousands of studies that are available for scientists. But sadly, the meat and dairy industry has such control over your government, my government. Our governments subsidize meat and dairy. Do you realize in your country, my country, if they took away the subsidies, 1 pound of meat, as an example, would cost about 25 euros or 35 American dollars. Nobody could eat it. Dairy food, the same. When you were a little boy here in Deutschland and when I was in America, we were given free milk. That was marketing.
In school.
Marketing. And then they tell you your bones are going to crumble. I can prove to you your bones crumble by taking milk and yogurt and cheese. I can show you the science on it. For 60 years, Hippocrates removed the dairy and the eggs and the meat and the fish and the poultry from people, and people get better. You know, if we were wrong, we wouldn't have thousands, hundreds of thousands of people scientifically proven with blood tests that we're getting better. So when is it time that people come and want to know the truth? And we get the big business out of the way. The governments have to understand this. They're actually supporting demons as far as I'm concerned.
Yes, it's terrific what is happening.
Yes, it is. It's horrible, horrible. And our babies are suffering, our children are suffering, and the planet is suffering. The most important. Our personal health is important, but if the health of the planet goes away, we all die anyway.
Yes, it's a horrible thing. I can only repeat. Yes. You have a Hippocrates Health Institute in West Palm Beach, Florida. I think you have one in United Kingdom.
No.
No?
No, we don't.
You don't. When will you have one in Europe?
Well, we're talking to people long time, but you know, to replicate Hippocrates, you need the leaders. And, it has been Dr. Anna Maria, my wife, the Swedish wife I have, and myself, that have literally created Hippocrates. And we're looking here in Europe for the Dr. Anna Maria and the Dr. Brian. And when we find these people, we very much want to have this. And we would rather have it, frankly, somewhere warm. We learned this in America. When we had the Institute in a cold climate, it was good. But when you put it in a nice climate, it's much better. So we go to Portugal or something. That's where we'll have it. So all the Europeans can enjoy it. So find people for us. We're ready to do it. We want to spread this worldwide.
I will look around, Brian.
You do. You have to look.
Find somebody.
Hard working. They must work 20 hours a day, 7 days a week. The old Deutschlanders. You have to get them back again.
Spain would be good, or Italy would
Absolutely.
be good.
In the south, where it's nice and warm and calm,
Or Turkey.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, Brian, I thank you so much for this interview, that you had the time.
Yeah.
And I have a small present for you.
Thank you.
So I hope that you will enjoy it. It's a package of nuts.
Oh, I love that. Nuts to me are the greatest. I appreciate it. Thank you.